I did say I'd come on about 12 o'clock tonight. Come on, boy. God, that music is bad, man. It is bad. But it's copyright free. And that is why I use it. Well, hello and welcome to this Thursday's late edition of Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh, here to speak about some movie news. It says it up there. Movie News. And I am late because I went to see my football team in a semi-full stadium for the first time in 18 months, and my, it was a sensational experience to be back with 50 odd thousand people, like-minded individuals, at a live event. Magical. Feels like a little bit of normality creeping back into everyday life, and that's precisely what I'm going to be speaking about at one point in this show. The very second topic in this show, I will be discussing movie theatres and audiences, and if they have perhaps got the skittles out the Delta variant, which is currently ravaging the United States of America. But first and foremost, I'm here to speak about Vulture and the great Michael Keaton. Mr. Keaton has been out speaking quite a bit to the press recently. He is, of course, currently working with Ezra Miller and the rest of the gang on Flashpoint, whatever it is they're going to be calling this movie. He's been speaking a lot about donning the Batsuit again and being Bruce Wayne once again in a movie for the first time in 30 odd years. He's been a busy boy, he's been out speaking. But it's not Batman and it is not DC I am speaking about in this very show. No, it is, and I'm trying to find my mouse cursor so I can bring up the correct article. Vulture and the MCU, and if he is perhaps sharing a universe and what the ramifications could be for that, and Jared Leto's vampire character. Could we see him jumping over to the MCU? Could we see Vulture jumping over to the Sonyverse? Is it the same character? Well, Michael Keaton has been asked that very question, not by Sean O'Donnell, but by someone from Cinema Blend, and I will endeavour to find the quote if I can find my fucking mouse cursor, which I never seem to be able to find. First and foremost, can we just do something here? Can we find this little thing and get that away? We don't give out free advertising here. Not in this channel, bitch. As you can see there, we recently got the chance to ask Michael Keaton about the cameo, and his answer was an expert amount of Marvel deflection. But we also thought that you would want to see his reaction. I'll have my theory on his reply under this photo. Well, that's his reaction there, presumably. I don't think it is, I think that's from a movie. I think they're at it. I'm going to endeavour... What is going on here, man? Are we going to a bicycle website? Really? Are we going to a bicycle website? Bear with me. Fuck is going on here? We're not going to a bicycle website. No, bitch, go. This is what you had to say. Where is it? Where is the quote? Boy, you're going to have to hold off on that answer. That's answer to come. Answer to come in inverted commas. Well, that's actually apostrophes, but that wasn't my work. That was the work of Sean O'Donnell at Cinema Blend, who clearly doesn't know his English. Now, what could this mean? Is he playing coy? Is he perhaps just playing a completely different character in a completely different universe that just so happens to share a link to another movie that he's working in, playing obviously Adrian Toomes? It is Adrian Toomes, isn't it? That's his name. Vulture. Now, this is a character who we have not really seen since the first Spider-Man Tom Holland full experience, i.e. Homecoming. We've seen him liaising with Scorpion, I believe it is, at the end of Homecoming in the end credit scene. I don't believe we've seen him in Far From Home, and we've certainly not seen him in any Avengers movies. So this character has some unfinished business with Peter Parker. And look, it's heavily rumoured that we are getting a multi-Spider-Man performance in No Way Home. heavily rumoured that it is going to be a Sinister Six movie. And look, it isn't heavily rumoured at this stage. We've got Electro, we've got Doc Ock, Alfred Molina's back, Jamie Foxx is back. We know we're going to have some sort of conclusion to the Adrian Toomes, to the Vulture character. Scorpion was introduced in an end credit scene, he's done fucking nothing. So that's 5 villainous characters we currently have. Why not just add one on and have a Sinister Six movie? Well, it looks like it could potentially be Morbius. Because I read somewhere, and I don't know the veracity of the offer, of the claims made, but there was something sneaking about a couple of years ago when Tom Holland renegotiated, well when the studios renegotiated their deal to have Tom Holland portray Peter Parker in the MCU. There was rumours that Sony had done a little deal with Marvel, that we could see characters flip-flopping, that there was going to be bleeding of realities between these two cinematic universes, and that was in the small print, to have the right to bring Tom Holland back to the universe. So if that's the case, could be we're seeing an Adrian Toomes or Vulture going over and interacting with Morbius, Oscar-winning actor Jared Leto's Morbius, and you could see him maybe coming back in to the MCU. It doesn't have to be the exact same version of Vulture from Homecoming. It could be a different alternate universe version. We're getting a multiverse story going to be playing out in the next couple of movies. It's already playing out in Loki and perhaps even WandaVision. So I don't think it's out with the realms of possibilities for Adrian Toomes, a different version of him, perhaps the very same version. I'm going to keep adjusting this mic because this boom arm's doing my nutting. I don't think it's out with the realms of possibilities for him in some vein to be interacting with Morbius and for them to then make an appearance in No Way Home. We have one villainous character slot missing. It's not going to be Venom, because I'm going to get into that in a moment. Tom Hardy's been speaking about Venom. Now, unless Tom's the greatest liar in the history of humankind, then I don't think it's going to be Venom. I think Mysterio is dead, because as I spoke about in a show 2 days ago, lots of promotion for this movie hinting at Team Mysterio, Team Peter Parker. People believe, I believe Mysterio, which means he died. They believe his dying lies about Peter Parker being the big villain. So I don't think he's going to be alive. It's possible we see him in some vein in a flashback or being a manipulator from the grave. But for me, there's only 2 possibilities to finish up this Sinister Six, and that has to be Venom or Morbius. And I just think Morbius is the best choice, because we're getting a Blade movie coming out in a couple of years with the great Mahershala Ali. And he's a fucking vampire hunter. And we have not got an established vampire character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have Mobius. Thank you, Harley, for knocking the mic into me. My dog, again. We have Mobius and Loki hinting at the existence of vampires, of werewolves, I think it says. Or witches, it may have been, actually. But we've not got an actual living, breathing interpretation of a vampire in this universe. So, you've got an Oscar-winning actor. You've got Sony creating this. Why not bring him in? Ready-made, oven-baked, as Boris Johnson liked to say during Brexit. The whole palaver with that. Bring him in and put him right into the Blade movie, and then introduce him as a character in this No Way Home movie. Have him slink off into the shadows and then re-emerge in Blade. I think it'd be a great idea. But look, Tom Holland's been out speaking about the exact same thing, and his wishes of perhaps one day portraying this infamous villain, arch nemesis of Spider-Man, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Incidentally, I've not mentioned Wilson Fisk's Kingpin character. Vincent D'Onofrio would be a great villain to come into a Sinister Six movie. The traditional villain for Spider-Man is Kingpin. And of course there's rumours of Charlie Cox's Deadpool appearing in this movie, so if we're getting that universe colliding, why not bring in Kingpin? This is like Pengling again with Benedict Cumberbatch. I struggle with that word. I don't think that's going to happen though. I think it could be Morbius. And of course the actual presence of Vulture, Michael Keaton in that movie, could be a hint at it. The fact he's playing coy, he's not coming right out and saying nope. The fact he's saying that's an answer to come. He could be playing as like a fiddle, but I think he's going to be in this movie. It's going to be Vulture, and we're going to see the 2 of those characters in No Way Home. And I sincerely hope it's true, because Lord knows Jared Leto deserves to have some success with a superhero character after what happened to him with David Ayer, Warner Brothers, and Joker. And it wasn't David Ayer's fault, incidentally. This is Tom Hardy's words about the potential of one day portraying Venom in the cinematic universe alongside Spidey himself. He said this: "I would be remiss if I wasn't trying to steer any kind of connectivity. I wouldn't be doing the job if I wasn't awake and open to any opportunity or eventuality, or be excited by that. Obviously that's a large canyon to leap, to be bridged by one person alone, and it would take a much higher level of diplomacy and intelligence, sitting down and talking, to take on an arena such as that. Should both sides be willing, it would be beneficial to both sides. I don't see it. I don't see why it couldn't be. I hope and strongly with both hands push eagerly towards that potential, and would be do anything I should say, to make that happen within what's right in business. But it would be foolish not to head towards the Olympic Games if you're running 100 metres. So yeah, I want to play on that field. As ever, a fantastical quote from Tom Hardy. He has a way with words. He's a very intelligent guy. He's been through quite the existence in life so far. Also dabbled with quite a turbulent childhood, turbulent teenage years. I think he had issues with drink, and he really did. He redeemed himself, and he's become a truly great actor and a great human being. The work he does with people in like-minded situations growing up in life. He's a fantastic human being, and I've enjoyed his acting over the years. Tremendous. I would love to see Venom coming into the Spider-Man universe, into the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe, I should say. He's a traditional villain to Spider-Man, and as Tom Holland's version hopefully blossoms and he becomes a mature-headed version of a character, not this immature, school-going version that we've currently got, why not bring in the likes of Venom, a big existential threat to Peter Parker in that universe? I think the time will become very quickly. It may be 1-2 movies down the road, but why not bring in an oven-baked version of Venom? Tom Hardy, box office appeal, ladies appeal, and he's done a great job playing that character, Eddie Brock, and just the humour. We spoke about it, we reacted to the trailer recently. The humour, the tone matches the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think that's something that Sony are doing a great job with. They are matching the universes very well. So tonally and stylistically, if it does happen one day, they bridge that gap, there's not going to be that jarring sort of reaction to it. And I think that's something that they're going to have to play really coy with, Feige and stuff like that, with Deadpool, and bringing Ryan Reynolds and Wade Wilson over, because he's stylistically and tonally very different to what we're getting in the MCU. Not the case with the Sony verse, and that's why I'm actually quite excited about the potential of Vulture coming in, excited about the potential of other characters. Hello, Gaza, man, hello. Celtic are shit, Rangers are better. Well, that's your opinion. I obviously disagree. I think Rangers are fucking shite, and as a Celtic man, I will never attest to Rangers being better than Celtic. Never, ever, ever. Never. They had 1 year when the stadiums were empty, playing in front of nobody, and they did it. It's almost like Invisible Man in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He can become invisible when no one's watching, but yet no one can actually see him. They won a league title when no one was watching, and now they're back with fans in the stadiums, and they've shat the bed dramatically, and hopefully long may it continue, because I am a Celtic man and I want to see Celtic rising to the top again. But look, historically, ooh, I hope they're fucking exactly, my man. I was at Celtic Park tonight, and there certainly was a lot of Rebel tunes getting sung, and look, it was fucking great to get back and immersed in it. This lovely land of mine, stuff like that. Absolutely magic being back in the stadium with like-minded individuals and watching a good Celtic team, it has to be said. Fucking rip-roaring, free-scoring, never boring Celtic back to their best, man. But look, I'm speaking about movie news, man. Can speak about Celtic. I really should do a Celtic channel at some point, man, because it'd be interesting. I've got a way with words when it comes to Celtic. Brighton have a better fan base. You know that's not true, my man. You know that's not true. Brighton have a 20,000-seater stadium. They're a fucking Diddy club in terms of fan base. But in terms of money, you're probably right. They're probably a bigger club. English football is doped to hell, man. What the fuck is Ranger? Exactly, man. What is it? Ranger? Yeah. It's plural. It's Sefco, really. Sefco is the real name of Rangers now. Rangers International. Dead. Man speaking straight facts. Has there been a raid or something happened over on Twitch, man? Because I've got to tell you, I've not got any alerts. We are primarily up on YouTube, and I use Restream to put it over to Twitch, so I've not got a fucking clue what's going on over on Twitch, man. So if there's been a raid or something happened, thank you very much to whoever it was that done it. I've not got a clue who it was. Could you speak English? I don't have any clue what you're saying. I'm speaking English. It's a Scottish dialect. You really have to keep listening to me. That will help you, and getting used to the pronunciations of words. So if you just keep listening, you'll get there in the end. See if you stick around and actually start reading some of this thing on this article, you'll maybe get your head around some of the ways I pronounce words, and that may help you. Because I can understand every English dialect in England, America. I can understand bastardised Mexican English. So, yeah, raid from Scott Holmes Football. Well, thank you very much, Scott Holmes Football, for raiding me, man. I appreciate it. Sadly, talking one load of fucking shit about movie news, not football. But I'm back for the football, and it was brilliant getting back. Look, I'm just glad that people in the United Kingdom are getting back to football, man. Because it was fucking shite. Crap without anybody being in the stadiums. Great to see the likes of the Community Shield and stuff like that. Big fans turn out again in stadiums. It's absolutely brilliant to see, man. Because it was crap without fans. I was watching it on the TV, man. It was fucking dead. Rubbish. So now we've got people back watching it. Big crowds, man. That energy's back. And it imparts itself on the actual players as well. The players play better. Rave from Scott, right, I read that. How did it feel getting knocked out of the Euros? Scotland, Scotland are shite. As long as I've been alive, I'm 32, we've been shite. Perennial failures. And even getting back when I wasn't alive, they were shite then as well. We had great players, but we always failed. Scotland's shite at football, man. We always have been. In terms of international anyway. But individually, you've got the likes of Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, and I don't know, Lyndon Dykes, is he Scottish, he's Australian, isn't he? He's not really good either. We've got some great individual players. As an international team though, a fucking abomination to football. And that's why I don't go and watch Scotland. I have got a Scotland top, but I've never watched them live. I'm a Celtic man, first and foremost. And Celtic have been pretty fucking shite recently as well in actual international European tournaments, I should say. We get knocked out with Michelin, some no-mat fucking diddy team from Denmark. Bunch of diving bastards, incidentally. John McGinn is 10 times better for Scotland than Villa. John McGinn's a class guy, good Celtic man as well, incidentally. John McGinn wanted to come to Celtic, but we had a chief executive called Peter Lawwell, who is a money-grabbing, tight bastard, and he wouldn't part with a couple of $100,000 to bring John McGinn to Celtic. So he went down to Aston Villa. He's out with our reach now, probably £20-30 million player. McGinn's all blood and thunder. He's not a great technical player. He tries hard, he runs about, but he's fucking average, man. Realistically, in that Scotland midfield, Scott McTominay's probably all round a little bit better. Then you've got the likes of Callum McGregor, who I love, technical fucking maestro. Ryan Christie, Duracell Bunny. And then I'm trying to think of others. Who else plays in that midfield, man? I'm sure there's others that I'm blanking on. But yeah, McGinn's alright, man. Blood and thunder kind of player. Hardcore sort of old school player. Gets towed in. And he's a good Celtic man, so that's good enough for me. Free guy, man. Yeah, I was going to talk about this. I've lost the plot here because I'm getting off in conversations about football, which to be honest with you, I do enjoy talking about as well, man. I love football. I've been watching football since I was 4.5 in the terracing of Celtic, the old stadium. But yeah, man, box office, I'll go back to it, man. I was going to speak about this, but realistically, it's the Delta variant of COVID. I've said, is it scaring US audiences? Certainly not scaring our audiences over here. It's been the dominant strain of COVID over here for months now. We are vaccinated, most of the country. I think I read the other day, 90% of the United Kingdom is vaccinated. I've had 2 jabs. I was at the football tonight, 52,000 fans in the stadium. Ibrox had 40 odd thousand, 50,000 3 days ago. People are getting back in their numbers. I was at the theatres last weekend and it was nearly full. People not really wearing masks anymore and not scared of it at all. So what I was going to speak about was people getting back to the theatres over in the States and then collectively shiting the bed and not getting back again when the likes of the Suicide Squad came out. To the point where now we have the likes of Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds movie, being projected to have a $15-17 million opening, which is half of what Dwayne Johnson's Jungle Cruise movie, which didn't look that great, it actually earned in its opening weekend. So it's earning half the money, and I've pondered, is it the Delta variant that's scaring them shitless, or are they just a bunch of redneck fuckers who don't care and they just don't care about movies and they're not going out to watch it? I don't know what the answer to that question is, but all I can speak about is experience of the United Kingdom. We had it ripped through the country, and now people are just getting back to normal 2-3 months later. So I think it'll be the same in the States. Realistically, they probably had a bit of a scare because it's ripping through the populace again. People are not getting back into theatres in the numbers they probably did a couple of months ago when they thought it was over, and that's affecting box office. It certainly affected the Suicide Squad's box office. Everybody thinks it's going to flop, and now Sony are delaying the likes of Hotel Transylvania, potentially putting it on streaming service. And what was the other one? Venom, Let There Be Carnage, been delayed a couple of weeks. I hope this is not something that keeps kicking the can down the road for these movies, because over here we're opened up, we're ready to rock, man. And I just want to get back to theatres and watch movies and stuff like that. I don't want it getting delayed because it's America-centric. And we have an issue where I can't go and watch a movie because it's all about the United States and they're shitting themselves. Hopefully that's not the case. Moving on to the next topic though, it's going to be a short show incidentally, man. I was going to speak about James Gunn, but I'm going to cut it short. It's currently fucking 12:15 AM here. And I just thought I'd jump on, do a wee show, because I like to do it every day or so. Stephen comes and joins me 2 days a week, 3 days a week. This is my lonesome. Came back for the football, thought fuck it, we'll jump on and do a little show. So Taika Waititi, one of my favourite directors on the planet just now. Incredible human being, again, colourful, loves his clothes, zany. An incredible director, man. Every movie I've watched with this guy has been absolutely superb. You think of what they did in The Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People. There's another one who I'm blanking on. And then obviously Jojo Rabbit and Thor Ragnarok, and he's currently in the midst of filming Thor Love and Thunder. Maybe done. It is done, I'm talking shite. And now he's focusing, Next Goal Wins is another one that's coming out, and now he is focusing on this mystery Star Wars movie that he's been given. And he's got a quote, and it's a very short quote, incidentally. Look at that, man. That's from What We Did in the Shadows, a fucking amazing film. If you've not seen that, hilarious. Go and give it a watch. Kind of movie that this guy produces on the regular now. Got a heart, but it's funny as hell. This is what he says, man. Very short and sweet. It's still in the X'd space stage now. That went over my head, like a whoosh sound, woof, right over me. Didn't know what it meant because I'm not an actor, I'm not a filmmaker. But I'll get to it in a moment. Waititi said of where Star Wars is at, referring to the format used in scripts to set up a scene. That's what it means. But we've got a story. I'm really excited by it because it feels very me. Incidentally, if anybody's still here for that raid, man, is this Scott Holmes geezer, is he English by any chance? And he better not fucking like Rangers, man. You can bug it off. I'll take that raid back. I'm not kidding, man, incidentally. I'm kidding, of course. Again, thank you very much to Scott for raiding us. I've got no alerts, man. I need to set it up. I've not got a fucking clue what I'm doing on Twitch. That's the truth. It's all geared up to YouTube. You've got a chat. It's very simple. Twitch, you've got alerts and stuff like that. Not got a scoop what's going on. But we'll get there in the end. I'm sure I'll set it up at some point if I can be asked. But needless to say, man, he's speaking about it short and sweet. He's currently on the script stage. They've got a story outlined, and yeah, they're going to get to actually writing it out, scenes, interactions with characters. I've not got a clue when this movie's set. I'm going to be contradicting myself in a minute because I actually did say previously that I wasn't a huge fan of Star Wars movies in the Disney era, and I didn't think they should be releasing any more movies. I thought they should continue on what they've been doing with The Mandalorian, set to do with the Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan and the Cassian Andor series, and that is make more TV shows, great quality TV shows, movie standard, long form, and focus on different parts of that universe that we've not seen before. We've seen enough shite Jedi duels, enough shite rehashing of the original trilogy. Forget about it. Focus on zany different little characters like Grogu and stuff like that. Even focus on Luke Skywalker, but do it over a multi-season 6-hour TV show if you like. I don't want to see the movies anymore, but I will make an exception for Patty Jenkins potentially in Rogue Squadron, and I will also make an exception for that man right there, because as I did say, man, I've been watching him for years, watching these movies, seen him rise from a cult sort of figure to being this big popular director in Hollywood, so much so he's getting fucking $200-300 million thrown at him for 4 movies, 4 Star Wars movies. He's been on a journey, and now he's a popular guy, now he's won the Oscar, he's getting a Star Wars movie, and he does speak down below of potential doubts of doing this movie. Could it be a career ender? And he says he doesn't think like that, he just thinks about movies that he thinks will be good and makes them for the viewers. And how he fools people in, he lulls them into a false sense of security, makes them feel when they didn't think they would, because his movies are superficially quite fucking funny. So I'm excited for this, what he's going to be doing with a Star Wars movie, man. Potentially, I don't know what it's set, it could be shite, it could be a Jar Jar Binks movie, and I'm fucking absolutely don't want to go and see it. It could be a disaster, but I don't think so. It's Taika Waititi, and I'm excited to see his trademark comedy lending itself to the Star Wars universe, because we've seen terrible comedy in The Last Jedi, it didn't work. We see what this guy can do. He certainly rejuvenated Chris Hemsworth and done something fresh for that MCU. Let's see him do it to Star Wars. This guy could be the future of fucking Star Wars. He may do one and be done. I don't know. Excited for it anyway. Moving on to the next topic though, man. It's Star Wars again. this is the one I'm going to end on, incidentally. I was going to speak about James Gunn. And him potentially dabbling with more DC villains movies, potentially doing some different little things for DC. But what Stephen says yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and as Campea said in YouTube earlier today, looking like he could potentially be getting another shot of, they could be giving a Justice League movie to this guy. He could potentially be doing a Justice League movie, and I think he'll do a better job than Joss Whedon certainly did. Don't know if he'll do a better job than Snyder. It'll be a different kind of movie, but I think that guy's got enough respect over at that studio with what he's done creatively with Suicide Squad to be given a big movie like that. He fucking says it. When he moved into the studio after being sacked with Disney, they gave him the chance to direct anything, and he picked Suicide Squad. So we're looking forward to that guy dabbling with DC sort of stuff, doing movies. I want him to become the Kevin Feige of DC, Warner Brothers, doing some dark, violent, funny stuff like what he did in Suicide Squad, a movie I enjoyed quite a bit. Some people hate it, and they're entitled to their opinion. They can hate it all they want. I loved it. But Obi-Wan, man, Obi-Wan, I've said there, can it bridge that style, trilogy style change? And what I'm saying there is, I'll do a brief little explanation as to what the fuck I'm talking about there. I'm talking about that completely different visuals, completely different technology, completely different feel we had between the original trilogy and what Lucas gave us in the prequel trilogy, where everything was grimy, broken, and lived in that original trilogy. You get to the prequels, it's all gleaming, it's shiny, it's brand new. There's technology there that shouldn't belong in a universe before what we've seen in the original trilogy. So this person from Cinema Blend, Movie Web, whatever the hell it is pondering, could they use, they're saying they can bridge the style change between the prequels and the original trilogy. They can use this TV show and Obi-Wan Kenobi as a main character to blend it in and explain why things were broken, dirty, grimy, and lived in by the time we got to the original trilogy. Do I think they can do that though? Do I think they want to do that? We'll get to it in a moment. CGI characters, I'm not going to read this article, I've read it before. They say there, as you can see, I'm going to briefly touch on it, a raft of CGI characters in the prequel trilogy. Lucas seen his friend Steven Spielberg doing stuff with Jurassic Park, thought, fuck it, I'll do it with Star Wars. And he went crazy. He was like a guy on ecstasy, man. Not sleeping, just going for it. CG everywhere. And we spoke about this. It's aged terribly, and it was a bad idea, but it was there nonetheless. This was the prequel to the originals. Obi-Wan's kind of living in this gap. This TV show is going to be set in that period. Will we see more CGI characters in this TV show to kind of bridge that feel, kind of slowly dwindle it down to what we had in the original trilogy? Well, certainly you've got Kumail Nanjiani in there, and I'm not suggesting for a moment he's going to be playing a CGI character, because he's absolutely fucking shredded out his box, an absolute muscly maniac now. But we've got some faces in there that, let's be honest, would be right for CG, and that's not doing them a disservice and saying they're ugly. It's just a fact. We know Joe Edgerton's not going to be doing it because he's absolutely playing, I'm blanking on the fucking name, Uncle Owen, Ben, wow, Uncle Owen, Lars. He's going to be playing him. He's not CG. We know she's not going to be playing anybody. She's Aunt Beru, who's soon to be cindered into charcoal. But there's a couple of faces in there, and I'm thinking of maybe this guy, maybe this guy. Lesser known actors who can maybe play CGI characters and help bridge that gap. Do I think it's going to happen personally? No, I fucking don't. I don't think this is going to be a TV show that's focusing on things like that. It's focusing on the story of Obi-Wan, where he was emotionally, mentally, in that TV show, in that time gap. That's what it's going to focus on primarily for me. I don't think they're focusing on stylistic things, but we'll get into it. I thought it was an interesting little thing. Droids versus Stormtroopers. Will we see why they started phasing out droids and bringing in Stormtroopers? Both were shite. Both couldn't shoot. But the Stormtroopers were in the original trilogy. They were the powerhouse. The droids had fell by the wayside. Will they show how that happened? As they say, you can go to Raxus Prime and you can see this graveyard for droids. I think that's been explored in the likes of Clone Wars and stuff like that as well. Rebels maybe. Can't remember which one. Do I think they could do that? They certainly could. I want to see them going off-world. I don't want this to be on Tatooine, the entire TV show. It'd be boring as hell. This old piss-stained hermit sitting out in the sand, drinking blue milk, feeling sorry for yourself. That'd be fucking terrible. So I want to see this guy going off and doing things. He's left looking the safe hands of these two moisture farmers, these beggars in the desert. Let him go off and have some adventures. Maybe fight Maul. Maybe do some stuff with Vader. Could see him going to the likes of Raxus Prime. It would be a nice bridge for those two trilogies. Will it happen? I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing that one, actually. Anakin versus Darth Vader. Now, I've not actually read this bit. I got to this bit and I started getting bored with the article. I'm not going to lie. But as you can see, we know for a fact we're getting Hayden Christensen in this movie. Can they bridge that gap? Because, of course, it was very, very blink and you'll miss it. The transformation into Darth Vader. Lucas backed himself into a corner with the Phantom Menace. He decided to make Anakin Skywalker a little boy, going on about fairies or angels and shouting whippy and stuff like that. And Jake Lloyd was fucking shite, let's be honest. He wasn't a great actor. You age him up for the second movie, it's too late. All that development is gone. The chance to tell the story of this puberty and emotionally fucking wrecked character turning into one of the greatest cinematic villains of all time, it was gone at that point. You'd lost the chance because there was just not enough time. So what we got in I can't even speak, Revenge of the Sith was a character that just went from being a goody two shoes to flipping, chopping off his Jedi Council member fucking friends' arms off, and then turn to the dark side. You blink and he's Darth Vader. Can they do a good job of bridging this? Can they maybe delve into that relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker? Him thinking over in his mind where it went wrong, how his protege fell to the dark side. I think this is going to be one of the actual main story elements of this TV show. I know it's called Obi-Wan, but I think he'll be grief-stricken. He'll be beating himself up about what he did to his friend, his brother as he called him. And it's going to tap into Obi-Wan emotionally, where he was, how he became this hermit that disconnected from the world, much like Yoda did on Dagobah. I think they'll tap into that, and I think an element of that will be exploring Anakin Skywalker, their relationship. Chance for Hayden Christensen to redeem himself here with a good performance, because it wasn't his fault, it was that fucking scripts. Those scripts were terrible. I think that's certainly a possibility, and that would certainly bridge the prequels to the originals, because it was blink and he's Vader, a very short-looking Vader. What's the next one? Darth Maul. Now, what I spoke about Darth Maul got halved in the Phantom Menace. He came back in the Clone Wars and Rebels as this strange spidery thing, and then I think he actually got proper legs back. It was an interesting character in terms of what he did with it. He had that resentment. He flip-flopped all over the place. He got killed impressively with Obi-Wan and a beautiful wide shot. Can we see more interactions between these two guys? I'm not entirely sure if we can, but I'd fucking love to see it, because Jake, what's his name? Is it Jake Park? Something like that anyway, something Parks. And then obviously it's your man, Peter Serafinowicz, who does the voice. Be a great chance for them to come back into the character. We get a hint of that in Solo. It's not going to be expanded out upon anytime soon. I want to see it. I'd love to see this character coming in again. That'd be connective tissue between those two time periods. Coruscant style world's not going to happen for me. Absolutely not. Don't want to go to Coruscant. Don't want to go to an urban planet period. I says I want this to be a sort of emotional rollercoaster for this character, delving into his psyche. That's what I want to see. And going off and doing action scenes in Coruscant, that'd fucking be crap for me. So I don't want to see it. So ultimately what I'm saying is, can it bridge the stylistic gap? It certainly can. Will it? I don't think it will explain why the technology degraded and why we were at the stage where it was little dots and circles on these controls, and then we've got big fucking holographic things happening 20-30 years prior. I don't think it will go to the trouble of explaining that, because firstly Disney have done a good job of remaining true to the original trilogy, and of course this kind of resides in between, but we don't know where. So I think they'll again just try and delve it into the original trilogy. I don't think they'll go out their way to make a stylistic comparison. I don't think they'll try and show why it happened. In terms of connective tissue between those two eras, I think that will happen. We will see the likes of Anakin Skywalker, his relationship with Obi-Wan. I think we will see why Stormtroopers were maybe coming in. Lots of things will happen, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to the TV show, that's what I'm also saying. But look, I am done, man. It's coming up for 12:30 AM. 12:30 in the morning, that is. And I'm done speaking. I've got shit to do. I'm going to go out and walk my dog like an absolute gonk in the middle of the night in Cambuslang, Scotland. Shall I give away my street name as well? Fucking hell, gimp. But what's your thoughts on the array of topics I've touched upon this? I need to stop using that word. I get pulled up for that on Limmy's Twitch the other day. I didn't realise what it meant, gimp. I just thought it was you're a clown. But apparently it's quite derogatory towards disabled people, so I'm going to stop using that word. I wasn't aware of that, and I will endeavour to stop using that in the future. What's your thoughts on Michael Keaton, on this revelation that he is in the Morbius movie, potentially playing Vulture? Could we see some bleeding between these Sony universe and this MC Marvel Cinematic Universe? Do you want to see that character come in? What do you think? And do you want Morbius to come in and be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I think it's inevitable. he will end up in the Blade movie playing a villain. What do you make about the other topics? You think this Delta variant is spooking the hell out of the US audiences? Is that why we've seen a drop in box office performance from the Suicide Squad? Is that why we're getting movies pushed back once again over in the States? What's your thoughts on that? You can comment below if you've got anything to say. And finally, what do you make about Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie and Obi-Wan potentially bridging gaps between two trilogies? If you've got anything to say at all and you feel compelled to share it, you can put it down below in the comment section. That's the place for it. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the follow button over on Twitch. If you want to see more content like this in the future, we'll certainly get more fucking subscribers on YouTube than we have followers on Twitch. Hitting 7,300 on YouTube just now, and I think we're about 20 odd on Twitch, so there's a disparity there. And look, if you come in and speak about football, I'll certainly fucking speak about football and all manner of things if you come in, so that's what you'll get if you want to see it. Follow, if you don't, you can fuck off, that's absolutely fine, I'll not be offended. But look, until then, I'm done. I'll be back tomorrow with Stephen and Roof to review Gilly. Until then, no, I'm done, man. Bye. Blasphemy to that guy, man, for saying Rangers is better than Celtic. That fucker will burn in hell. I'm joking, of course. Or am I?